In this demonstration, I'll show you how you can leverage Microsoft virtualization technology and EMC storage optimization technology to create a dynamically adjustable environment. The configuration here is set up in the Microsoft Technology Center and contains a Hyper-V cluster with two servers, EMC 2950-1 and 4. We also have a CLARiiON CX4-120 in which we've set up a disk pool which will store our Hyper-V VMs. We have two thin LUNs set up in this pool, one for Exchange and one for SQL. We can see a performance monitor window showing Exchange IOPS and response time. We can see the IOPS are doing fine around 3000 until a SQL database comes online and starts to negatively impact the performance of the Exchange VM. We can see the Exchange IOPS dropped while that SQL workload comes online, and that's due to the contention because they live on the same server and they share the same disk resources. So what we need to do is balance that workload. We'll be using the new feature within Windows 2008 R2 Hyper-V called Live Migration to be able to balance the server workload. We start the live migration by right-clicking on the VM, SQL Server 2008 R2, and going down to the Migrate option. A wizard will come up and recommend where to put that VM. It will confirm that, and then we'll kick off the live migration process. We can go into Performance Monitor and see that take place. On the left-hand side of the screen, that virtual machine is being migrated without downtime. And we fast forward a little bit and we can see that process starting to come to an end. Let's verify that by going in the System Center Virtual Machine Manager. You can see Exchange is where it was. When we look at SQL, it's now on the other server in our Hyper-V cluster. But if we look back at performance again, you can see the Exchange IOPS are still not as good as we want. So we need to do something about the disk resources. And what we'll do is we'll go into Navisphere Quality of Service Manager and set a limit on the amount of IOPS that the SQL LUN and the SQL VM can consume. We open up Navisphere and then go down to the bottom where it's the Quality of Service Manager. Open that up and we're going to set up a new IO class. And what we're doing is we're setting up a goal to hit. In this case, it's limiting the SQL 2008 R2 VM and the LUN to 500 IOPS. We go and we set that up. Numerous parameters we can set. And we go into policies and we run that. Once we run that, we're actually setting a goal for the system to hit. And we set that up and we start to watch that. So what we're going to do is we're going to see the Navisphere view of that being set up, where the green dashed line is that threshold that we just set, the light blue is the SQL workload, and the gray dark line is the Exchange 2010 LUN. In this case it's called the background class. That quickly rebalances that workload and places a limit on the amount of IOPS that SQL can consume. We verify that that took place and it worked by going back into Performance Monitor, and it worked. We see a very large decrease in the SQL I/O, and Exchange is now doing much better in terms of I/O. That concludes our demo. To wrap it up, we performed a live migration of a SQL VM and then placed a threshold on a SQL LUN. If you'd like more information, please visit us on the web at emc.com/Microsoft.